Yes, good evening. My name is Wallace Gator Bradley, and I'm the president of United in Peace, Inc. And as everyone know, my viewing audience know, that this show wouldn't be possible without the chairman of United in Peace, Inc., and that's none other than the producer and the director of this show, Terry Marsh. And I'm blessed to be blessed that she married me. Some people can't understand that, but I say, hey, that's what blessings are. They ain't supposed to be explained, they're supposed to be enjoyed. One of the things that I want to start this show off with by saying, to God be the glory. Okay, I'm wholeheartedly believe that keep God first and make everything proper and in order. But that being said, one of the most important things to me and something that I've been pushing on this show every week is the election. So you got to get out there and vote. You can start voting early on March the 5th. I voted earlier than that. You know, I'm so proud that I voted early. I don't know what to do. But I can't go back and vote again. Okay? One of the things that's key is I believe that the bottom of that ballot is more important than all the other candidates that you can vote for. Like, how can that be important in the governor's race? They can say they're going to spend close to $300 million. Okay. But understand this. The individual that we as a people have the power to elect can make the determination of whoever become governor, president, county board president, or whatever. They got to come before a judge. The judge ain't got to go before them. They got to come before the judge. So with that, I want to introduce you to Judge Al Swanigan. He's a friend of mine. And he's going to be a friend of yours. Because he's going to make sure that you get a right trial, or fair trial. That's a right trial, a fair trial, based on the Illinois Constitution and the U.S. Constitution. I'm going to let this young man tell you everything about himself, because I know him. And he's a good man, he's a fair man. And he's a man you want to keep on the bench. Just want to, would you tell our viewing audience now who you are and something about yourself, man?
Okay, good to see you, Mr. Bradley. And
thanks, good to see you again, man.
Thanks for introducing me to your audience. I appreciate the opportunity. As you said, judges are really important. Now, we're at the bottom of the ballot,
right?
But I always compare what we do to what other folks in other branches of the government do. Now, there's about 400 judges of the Circuit Court of Cook County. Okay. I am one.
Okay.
Now, that's about the same number of U.S. representatives as there are. There are about 400 of them, 435. Right. One representative, if that representative does a bad job, they won't get bills passed, but they can't by themselves impact your life all by themselves.
But a judge can.
But a judge can, that's right.
One man.
One person, any one judge of the Circuit Court of Cook County, when you show up in his or her courtroom, they have a say-so over your freedom, over your pocketbook, over your marriage, your child custody, your business, your job, whatever it is.
Right.
They have that right there in their hands. And that's why it's so important that every one of the 400 be a fair judge, because you get the wrong one and there's no submitting it to a vote. Now, there's appeals, but appeals can take a month or months or years. So a judge enters an order in the circuit court, that order changes your life the day you walk out of that courtroom.
Right. Now, you know, glad you mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
They have circuit court judges. They run all over the Cook County.
Right.
But they had to make it a law so that African Americans, Hispanics, women, judges, like it would be a balance, and they created the sub-circuits.
That's right.
Could you explain a little of that to our viewing audience, and then explain to them your sub-circuit that you're running for and the boundaries?
I absolutely will. As you said, it used to be that all Illinois judges in the circuit court were elected on a countywide basis.
Okay.
And in Cook County, what that would mean is that if Chicago Democrats decided that there was a certain candidate that they were behind, and the Chicago Democratic Party candidate ran against a Democratic Party candidate from Evanston, and one from Oak Park, and one from Olympia Fields, well, Chicago has the biggest population, and the
Right.
Chicago candidates would always win. The legislature decided that the judges needed to be somewhat representative of the communities they lived in, and so in 1992 they enacted a law that said that a certain percentage of judges would be elected from sub-circuits. And so in Cook County, and there are 15 sub-circuits in Cook County. Now, every circuit court judge serves all of Cook County.
Right.
And so any circuit court judge can be sitting anywhere, whether it's the Daly Center, Markham, Bridgeview, Skokie, you name it. A circuit court judge can sit anywhere, but if you're a sub-circuit judge, it's the people of the sub-circuit who decide whether you keep that job.
Right.
And so my situation is I am a sub-circuit judge. When someone retires from a particular seat, the Illinois Supreme Court appoints somebody to fill the vacancy.
So you was appointed by
I was
Supreme
appointed by the
Court
Supreme
judge?
Court, that's right, in April of 2017, so April of last year. So I've been on the Circuit Court of County bench for 10 months. I was appointed to a 15th sub-circuit seat. That's where I live, and the 15th sub-circuit is in the south suburbs.
Okay.
And so the southern suburbs that border the southern edge of Cook County, and the townships, there are actually 8 townships that are included. There's too many sub-circuits, suburbs for me to name in the 15th
Right.
sub-circuit, but there's 8 townships. There's part of Bloom Township, Thornton Township, Rich Township, Bremen, Lamont, Worth, Palos, and Orland Townships.
Okay.
And so those are the 8 townships that make up, some are all of those townships.
So you don't have any parts of the city of Chicago?
I do not have any city of Chicago, so it's your friends who live in the south suburbs who decide who gets to be 15th sub-circuit judge.
That's a wonderful thing, because that's where you're going to be adjudicating cases at, and I believe the residents within that surrounding area need to have that power. One of the things that I'm finding out that our audience, sometimes they call me and they want to know something about you, the person.
Mm-hmm.
So could you share that with them, where you went to school,
Sure thing.
the different, I know all this,
Right.
but they don't.
Right.
And they going to vote for you if they're in the 15th sub-circuit.
Right.
So could you share that into the camera and let them know exactly?
Yeah, I'm happy to share. I was born in Chicago. Both my parents were born in Chicago. I got the typical South Side Chicagoan story. My 4 grandparents all moved up here from the South. Both my parents were born here. I was raised in Auburn Gresham, and I lived in Auburn Gresham from the time I was 4 till the time I went to college. I never left the area to go to college. I actually went to Northwestern University in Evanston. I was a journalism major there and got my degree in that. And then I came back to the South Side for law school. I went to the University of Chicago for law school. After law school, I did a bunch of different things, and I think the number of different areas of the law that I was exposed to have given me the experience to make me a good judge, which I think I am today. I actually worked as a law clerk for a judge back in the 1980s, Judge William Sylvester White on the Illinois Appellate Court. I did some civil litigation after that, mostly appellate work, and I did arguments in front of the Illinois Appellate Court and the Illinois Supreme Court. Then I was a corporate lawyer for 10 years.
Right.
And doing corporate law, I did, you name it. I was hired to handle some litigation that the company had all around the country, and the job grew. So the job grew from just litigation to doing pension and benefits and human resources and trademarks and regulatory stuff and mergers and acquisitions. So from the time I started to the time I ended, about 10 years' time, I went from being an entry-level lawyer to being general counsel of the company. So I did pretty well there. At the time I left that job, we sold the company.
Right.
So when we sold the company, I was able to stay home with, I had a baby daughter and another daughter on the way. And so I was able to sort of scale back, and I went back to working for judges. And so I worked for the last 14 years before I got appointed to the bench myself. I worked for 4 different judges on 2 courts. I worked for judges on the Illinois Appellate Court, and then 2 judges on the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Illinois. So those courts handle cases of every kind.
Right.
They handle, murder cases, drug cases, bank robberies. They handle antitrust. They handle employment discrimination. You name it, I did it. I help judges do their legal analysis on cases of all kinds. And I say with a little bit of pride, out of the 5 judges that I worked for, I had interviews with 2. But 3 of them called me, and I believe they called me because I have a reputation of doing a good job.
One of the things that I know my viewing audience, you really want to know. You want to know an individual that you're going to vote to be judge. You want to know if he's qualified and certified. And that comes with going before the different bar associations. Did you get any recommended? Or?
Chicago Bar Association, actually.
That's the main bar.
There's a bunch of them, and I'm not going to be able to remember them all, so I'm just going to read a few of them.
Okay.
Chicago Bar Association, Asian American Bar Association, Black Women Lawyers Association, Chicago Council of Lawyers, Cook County Bar Association, Decalogue Society of Lawyers, Hellenic Bar Association, Hispanic Lawyers Association, Lesbian and Gay Association, Bar Association of Chicago, and Puerto Rican Bar Association. So those have all given me qualified and recommended ratings. So.
If they believe in you, then the people of the 15th Sub-Circuit got to believe in you. Keep this man on the bench. The second segment of my show, I'm going to come with the news that you can use, but I don't want the judge to be sitting here because it may get a little heated. So with that, Judge, I want to say I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thanks a lot, Mr. Bradley.
Hey, man, you got a daughter? You got 2 daughters?
I got 2 daughters, 2 teenagers.
Hey, and Bob, I don't know how old they are. But if you see a little pretty damsel there, you better answer, is your daddy a judge? Because if you get caught up...
You said that right. You said that right.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks. One more thing before you get off here. Did you go see that movie, Black Panther?
My wife and my daughter went, but I've been out campaigning.
Right.
So I used to read the comic book.
I
read the comic book way back when.
Hey, man, I used to be in the library, man, with the big dictionary, man. They think I'm getting some education. And I'm reading the Black Panther, man. I'm reading Avengers. I'm reading.
I did too.
But I did learn how to read.
Yeah. And did you see it?
Yeah.
I heard it was great. My family said it was great, but I was out, knocking on doors.
Well, one thing this is,
so I'm
it's going to be up. We got 19 days before the election.
Right.
Could you give them your punch number?
It's punch 154, and as Mr. Bradley said, the judges are on the end of the ballot, so please do stick around to the end. In every one of these sub-circuit races, the number of people who bail out, who start the ballot but do not finish, that number of people is always enough to decide the election.
Right.
So please do stick around to the end of the ballot, punch 154 if you're in the 15th
Hey, I want to tell you, that's what I did when I went and voted. I turned it upside down.
There you go.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. All right, hold 1 minute. Let me do a little house cleaning here.
Okay.
And that way hey, we about to bring on some news that you can use, okay? I want to give cheers to Alderman Pat Dow because she heard her constituents' concerns about the parking ban that was around the new Wing Trust Arena. That's the new arena for DePaul, and a lot of the business people there, especially African American business people was there. That ban had it where it was hard for their customers to come and do business with them because whenever there's an event there, their customers had nowhere to park. So Alderman Pat Dow, third ward alderman, hooray, hooray, hooray. And something else. Our president, the people of America, president number 44. Everybody don't want to talk about number 45 because he caught up in a whole lot of jive. But the Obama Foundation is spending $4 million to cut youth violence. $4 million they're spending to help cut youth crime. And $1 million of that is coming to Chicago. You know, President Barack Obama had this thing called My Brother's Keepers. President Barack Obama, I want to say hooray, hooray to you and the Obama Foundation. You're putting your money where your mouth is. It takes all of us to help turn the tide against antisocial behavior and senseless violence within our community. If you ain't putting up, shut up. Dave Durison, great football player. His son, Trey Durison, and others was fortunate enough to get a bill that they're trying to get passed because of that illness. You know, Judge, that they had in the
CTE.
CTE.
That's right.
Okay, thank you, Judge. CTE. That's when you get those concussions, and you know, that's how his father died. Well, the young man in the name, he helped push the act in the name of his father. And they tried to push a bill. It just got passed out of committee down in Springfield, where they're trying to make it where a certain age, children shouldn't be allowed to play football in high school. Okay, and it's to prevent a serious illness. I think they did a movie about that, CTE. So I want to say, young Trey, congratulations to you. I want to say to State Representative Carl Sente from Vernon Hills, who filed the bill in January, I want to say hooray, hooray, hooray to you. Because again, like I said earlier, it takes all of us to bring about change. Everybody say they won't change, but you got to know what you're changing to. And with that, let's get into some county politics. I know you can't get into this politics, but I'm glad you're sitting here with me. I appreciate you.
I can listen, but I can't.
Hey, look, listen, and learn. That's what we say.
That's right.
Well, they say the pop tax bubbles beneath the surface and the county board race of Mr. Boykin and Brandon Johnson. And man, it is hot. You know, Boykin was the one that led the charge for the repeal of the soda pop tax. He did what he felt was right. He was the champion in that cause. But he forgot that there's a downside, and the downside was the union did not like it. So the young man, Brandon Johnson, is running against Boykin. And man, he got supporters. Johnson is supported by the Secretary of State, Jesse White, Alderman Walter Burnett, Alderman Jason Irvin, as well as County Commissioners Jesus Chuy Garcia and U.S. Bernie Sanders. Wow. Well, Borky was thinking about running against Tony Preckwinkle, and he made a decision not to. And that was wise, and I wish both of them the best of luck. But he made the right choice not running against Tony. Because Preckwinkle had just been endorsed by the Sun-Times, and I read she was endorsed by the Tribune. Tony Preckwinkle is a strong woman in that position. The choices that she made, she owned up to it. She takes the weight. When she was pushing the pop tax, it was to make sure that no one would be fired because that budget had to be balanced. And when the pop tax was appealed, it leveled up to the Cook County Commissioners to try to find out what to do in order to balance the budget. And she stepped in and made a decision on what has to happen in order to save the Cook County Commissioners. She's a strong woman. Boy, she's a strong woman. And I'm glad I ain't the county board president, because I might have made the wrong mistake and said, hey, dog, y'all got to come up with that $200 million. Tony Preckwinkle, hooray, hooray to you. We got a balanced budget. And the Cook County Commissioners, they stood with her on the balanced budget for the county government. Hooray, hooray to you. You know, now we going to Springfield. A lot of people was mad at me because I said there was a White House tape, since everybody talking about the tape between Blagojevich and Pritzker. And then I came out with the White House tape because it was released after they turned in the Kennedy papers. They released the Kennedy papers after 50 years. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of things in there that was held in there, including the fact that with Email Jones saying that in his commercial that the Kennedys and Martin Luther King was tight and that's why they should vote for Chris. Then I found out that there was another private conversation that was recorded. It was recorded at the White House, and that was between former President John Kennedy and his brother, who was the Attorney General, Robert Kennedy. And in that conversation, President Kennedy told his brother, Attorney General, we don't want Martin Luther King to get nowhere near the White House. So that killed the fallacy of what Email was saying. You know, you ain't got to make a decision on this. But the fact of the matter is this. They pretty much was saying that they feel like if Martin Luther King came into the White House, it would be like bringing Marx, you know, Lenin or whatever that is, the communists into the White House. Mm-hmm. And then Robert Kennedy ended up doing an interview with this journalist, and he let it be known because of what was happening. He had J. Edgar Hoover to do an intensive investigation of Martin Luther King, even to the point of bugging his house and bugging the hotel and everything. So that's not something friends do to one another. So I probably put out a call that the Kennedy campaign and Email Jones should take that commercial down unless they're going to put the whole truth in that commercial, because we don't want our children to get disillusioned or lied to by saying they should vote for Chris. I got an 18-year-old granddaughter that her birthday was yesterday, and I got to take her to get registered, and her mother had to tell her that wasn't true. Just call your granddaddy, and she did. And when I told her, she was like, I got to take her Monday, man. So that's what I got to do. But hey, that's suffice to say. We hear the polls that says that there's a new poll that came out. Ronna, Pritzker, they lead the governor's races in their respectful party. Pritzker leading in the Republican primary, and Pritzker leading in the Democratic primary. And Ronna is leading in the Republican primary. You know, sometimes I get it kind of mixed up because sometimes I think that Bitts and Kennedy sound almost like surrogates for Ronna, because Ronna doing the commercials in the Democratic primary. You know what I mean? So Ronna is leading in the Republican primary and Pritzker is leading in the Democratic primary. And as a matter of fact, they have a debate today while I'm sitting here. I'm going to miss it, but I guess I can catch up with it. Now let us go to Washington, D.C. while I got you here. You see where the young lady, her name is Hope, and everybody say Reverend Jackson say keep hope alive, but he's not talking about this hope. And everybody say you got to have hope, but he's not talking about this hope. This hope was an aide who told of white lies, and she's leaving the White House. Why is it when they say a white lie, I thought a lie is a lie is a lie. She was lying for Trump. But who knows? The lies that she was telling, and when she explained it before the committees in Washington, D.C., I prayed that a Mueller call her in. She don't lie to him, because that's a crime. And my biggest joke for the evening before I go off, because it's almost time to wrap it up, is the chocolate milk metaphor. Young guy by the name of Tony Sotomayor, I think that's his name. He worked in a Hyatt chain. And he does this thing because he pushed diversity. He's been doing this for about 15 or 16 years. Where he'll come in, he have a glass of white milk. Okay, then he'll put, I think that might be Nestle chocolate, into the glass, and then go to the bottle. And then he see who's the most powerful person in the room. This time, Ronna had to be sitting in the room, so he go to the governor. And he taught about diversity while he stirred up. He told Ronna, pour it in your cup. Stir it up. And he told Ronna to taste it, and Ronna tasted it and said, oh, this is good. He said, you just drunk diversity. So, hey, man. Hey, so he said a glass of milk. This is a cartoon, folks. He said, Governor Ronna, not thrilled with the first metaphor, gives it a shot. The glass of milk represents my first term in office. Now, folks, this is a cartoon. I'm reading this, okay? Then he shake it up and put the syrup in and shakes it up. The chocolate syrup represents the sweet changes offered as I took office and stirred things up. Then he drinks it. Unfortunately, after the first day, this empty glass represents the remainder of my term with nothing but the sad, sweet residue of promise at the bottom. That means he made a lot of promises that he didn't keep. It's time for me to wrap it up. I want to say thank you, Judge, for sitting next to me and coming today and sharing with my viewing audience the importance of them voting for a judge and especially voting for you. And I'm going to say to God be the glory. Please get out there and vote. Don't choke, vote. Thank you.